Hello and welcome to the Wilder Lincolnshire podcast from the Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust. I'm Melvin Pryor. We're out and about again today at Crowle Moor. And with me I've got Sophie. Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Melvin.
Gorgeous morning, but it is bitterly cold. You're normally down in the Fens though, aren't you?
Yep, we are normally down in the Fens.
So tell us about the organisation you work for.
So I work for the Fens East Peat Partnership, and as you said, we normally work down in the Fens. So we've got numerous sites down there currently undertaking peatland restoration.
Now, fascinating thing we're going to talk about today is the use of drones, but I'd like to know a bit more about the work you do down in the Fens. So how does it actually work down there?
So we have a number of partners. So we're partnered with Norfolk Wildlife Trust, RSPB and Wildlife Trust for Beds, North, Hants and Cambs. So we're spread across numerous counties. So we've got Lincolnshire, Cambridgeshire, Norfolk and Suffolk. And we are currently undertaking groundworks, installing of water control structures to increase the water retention on site and allow it to stay wetter for longer during the year.
It's a fascinating project because you're working with so many different organisations, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. We've also got private landowners such as Nattergull and Alban Wise. So we're just trying to make sure that we've got a partnership that works collaboratively and we can maximise the impact on the Fens.
And the important thing is this water retention to keep the Fens as they are.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not talking about flooding, it's controlled water level raising, and we want to make sure that we can actually do it in a controlled way and a managed way, and it means that we're keeping the peat wet and it's going to be helping to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, it's going to improve biodiversity, and it's also going to allow for recreational use on the sites.
Now, although we're quite a long way from the Fens here, similar situation here, you talk about checking water levels and you do that at various locations around this site, don't you?
Yes, we've got 15 dip wells across this site, so it gives us a good idea of what the water levels are doing across the site, particularly for seasonal changes, and once the restoration work's taken place we can see how that is impacting it and allow us to control it in a better way.
Now, when I came to the site a few months back, we did have a look at some of those dip wells. Fascinating how it works, but why is it so important and what is it actually telling you?
So it's telling us the groundwater level, so it means that the level that it is below the ground, so we can't actually see that when we're walking around the site, but having these dip wells allows us to have that insight as to what the water levels are doing, and if it's a particularly dry period, we know that we can raise the water levels more, or if it's a particularly wet period, we can see what that's happening, put together a graph, and we can have that as a record.
Let's talk a bit about your background because you got involved with the trust on a placement, didn't you? That was part of your studies, wasn't it?
Yes, I was doing a degree at Anglia Ruskin and we had to do a 2-month placement, and I was quite interested in nature and conservation, and the Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust is my local wildlife trust, and I wanted to see if they had a placement, and the Fens East Peat Partnership had recently started and it was actually very local to me, so I was lucky to be able to do my placement with them. And then once I'd finished my degree, there was actually a job opportunity, and I applied and I'm here now.
And what sort of things have you been doing then since you joined properly, if you like?
So we've been doing lots of different survey work. So we've been doing peat coring, dip well installation, going out and downloading the data. We've also been doing fixed point photography. So that includes sometimes going around the site and taking pictures with your phone, but more recently, and getting better pictures with the drone, we've been doing aerial surveys to see how the land is changing in response to the restoration.
So you mentioned drones. We have one here beside us on the drone helipad. It's got an H on it, so I can call it that, I'm sure. But how much of a difference have things like drones made to the work that you can do?
Well, it's made a massive difference in the area we can cover. So we're able to get to a lot more sites in a shorter period of time. Previously, we would have had to go around and walk around all of the sites, and the photos we would get are kind of hard to differentiate exactly where we were stood. Whereas the drone, you can see exactly where you were, you can have a big overview of the site, and it really gives that site-wide view with just one photograph.
It's interesting. You get this aerial view then. I can understand like the dip wells, you're working out what's going on there. Will the photographs actually tell you about changes that are happening on the sites as well?
Yes, so we've already got photographic evidence of the change that's happened. So we've had some sites have undertaken tree felling, so that's something we can pick up with the aerial shots. We can also see when the water levels have been raised. We can see the surface water if it's already showing, and it gives us a really good demonstration of what we've achieved.
Do you actually get to fly the drone?
Yes, I get to fly the drone. Myself and my colleague Matt are both qualified. We have the A2 CFC qualification, and we also have the flyer ID, which you have to have before flying.
Who would have thought that somebody getting into conservation and all these sorts of things would actually end up doing something technical, flying drones around a site?
Yeah, it's great, and I think there is more potential for its uses. The more we do, the more we realise we could actually do with the drone.
I think it's also important to mention that the general public shouldn't be flying drones over the Wildlife Trust sites. You're using the drones here to make sure the research and development is carried out.
Yeah, and we're making sure that we're doing it in a way that respects the environment and the species that are using that habitat, to make sure that we're not impacting or disturbing them.
And I think that's the important thing, isn't it? Because we've often been out at places and drones are flying over. They can be a nuisance, can't they?
Yeah, and they can, especially if the guidelines aren't followed, and if you get too close, you've got to make sure you keep distance so that you're not disturbing them.
So we mentioned that the drone can give us an overview with regards to sort of photographs, but it can also be used for other purposes in the wildlife and conservation sense, can't it?
Yes, so the drone that we have has thermal capabilities, which means we can actually get thermal images and videos of the sites, which can give further insights into the changes, but it also can pick up animals that are on the site and changes due to the season and the weather.
Yeah, we talked about disturbing the animals, but in this case, we're using them to monitor the animals in some cases.
Yeah, exactly. And there are developments being made for counts of animals as well, so it would help wardens.
And if you've got a dense woodland area as well, I suppose you could sort of watch and monitor bird populations, bird nesting, that sort of thing?
Yeah, it can pick up, particularly if there's a difference in the air temperature and the animal temperature on a cold day is particularly clearer. You can actually see the animals within the trees, and it's really easy to pick them out.
Don't know whether we're going to see much today, but we'll get you flying the drone and see if we can see things at Crowle Moor.
You'll be surprised. There'll be things that we see that we can't see with our own eyes.
Sophie, you've got your high vis on. You're ready for drone flying then?
Yeah, we're making sure that we're visible to the public while we're flying the drone.
And Matt, you're ready? You've got all the kit here, all the equipment. This is the main drone you fly then, is it?
This is what we call Big Nelly, and we have a smaller one called Little Nelly, which is a reference to James Bond, Little Nelly. Anybody remembers that? But this one is a newer drone. It's the more advanced drone with the thermal technology. The other drone we got was the first drone we had, which is basically just a camera, whereas this one is a camera and the thermal technology as well, and infrared.
And really good camera quality, isn't it?
Oh yeah, superb. It's top quality camera, top quality everything, and that's what you get with these larger drones, not the small recreational drones.
And we were talking about safety with the high vis and all that sort of thing. You have to have permission to fly a drone as well, don't you?
You do, yes. You have to have landowners' permission to fly the drone. This land we're on today is Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust, so we're flying for Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust. But certain places that you fly, you also has to have additional permission, but you also need to know that the airspace is clear. Check airspace records to make sure you're allowed to fly in the first place.
And can people get that sort of information?
Yes, it's openly available. If you search drone airspace or drone map, there's plenty of different ones on the internet. The NATS UK map, which is the National Air Traffic System, is the main one that everybody goes by, and yeah, that is freely available on the internet. Tell you where you can fly and where you can't fly.
So you've got a little helipad here, so just talk me through what you're going to do. How long does it take to actually get it set up?
It's not very long at all. It's literally a case of folding out the rotor blades, turning the drone on, and then we turn the controller on as well on this side.
Oh, I like it. Okay. So you've got a screen in front of you, like a sort of iPad, basically, isn't it?
It is effectively an iPad, yeah, an iPad with two antennas coming out the top and like an Xbox controller either side, and that's all it is. The reason we use a helipad is because it's not so bad here today, but if you've got places with dust or long grass, the rotor blades will lift all that up, so it's just to protect the drone from the surface that it's sitting on.
Okay.
And yeah, that's pretty much ready to go.
The interesting thing with this is, Sophie, we were talking about the fact you could locate animals and all sorts of things when you're flying here. There could be things hiding in the undergrowth that we can't see, but the drone will spot for us.
Yeah, definitely. We've had pictures where once we've got back to the office and loaded them onto the computer, we've then gone on to look at the images and then seen animals that we had no idea were there, and they were only just a few feet away.
We were talking about what we're using it for here at Crowle. Similar situation then down at the Fens as well. Similar sort of observations you'll be doing for the Trust.
Yeah, predominantly what we're doing today is aerial photography, which we do every 3 months, and it is to see change over time. We take pictures from exactly the same location. That's the joy of the drone. You can repeat locations and photographs. So we just repeat every 3 months the same photographs, and then we have that over time, those images. But we can also do the same in thermal imagery, but we can do mapping flights, we can do animal surveys, but today it is just those aerial photographs.
Okay, I'll stand back. I assume we have to be quite a distance away from it, do we? Or are we okay here?
We'll step out a bit, and then I just basically need to keep an eye on it for Matt as the observer.
Ah, okay. That's important as well. We're doing this sort of thing. You have to have somebody flying and somebody observing as well.
Yeah, so we need to maintain visual line of sight throughout the flight. So Matt is looking at his screen, so he's not able to look at the sky where the drone is, and I basically am the spotter. So I'll keep an eye out where the drone is.
I heard the drone say taking off.
Yeah.
We must be ready.
Yeah,
it's very quiet, isn't it?
But
again, that's important. We're talking about the Wildlife Trust. You don't want something that's going to disturb the animals, do you?
No, definitely not. But once it's in the air higher up, you barely can hear it at all.
Okay, we ready to launch? Oh, we're off. My goodness, I'm going to go across to Matt, who's got the control at the moment, just to see what we're looking at here. What sort of height can you get with the drone?
Well, the maximum you can fly is 400 feet. Generally, that's set as a maximum because most aircraft will be flying above 400 feet. But you do have to be wary of aircraft and keep an eye out, which is why we have the observer. But for example, we're currently at 186 feet. And you can see the sight on the controller as we scan round.
And you're just literally able to rotate the camera so you can see the whole area around. What about zooming in? Can you zoom in from a height as well?
Yes, we can indeed. We've got a zoom camera on there, and we've got the ability to scroll in and out once we've got the camera on there. And we've also got on this drone, the thermal imaging. So
oh, wow.
You can choose different colours on the thermal imaging, but as you see straight away, we've got things showing up in the middle. You can see some little white dots, which are animals in the trees.
Oh, okay.
Also in the fields, you can usually see things, although it's quite a cold day. Everything shows up on a cold day. If it's a white dot, it's generally an animal.
Oh, my goodness. And again, with things like this, different times of the year will give you different pictures and different images. I would imagine at the moment, with the trees here, with not many leaves, basically, you're going to get some good views anyway, aren't you?
Yes, I mean, this time of year, small mammals, birds, on the thermal, they absolutely pop. They stand out really well. In the summer months, you'll get, for example, a horse or a cow, then we can hardly see it on the thermal because the land is the same temperature. So they don't actually show up. So on a summer's day, the thermal doesn't actually give you a great deal of information because the whole land around it is also hot. But winter scenarios, yes, you can see a massive difference.
Yeah. Do you think drones, as they're being developed, are they quieter now?
Yes.
In terms of, we talk about disturbing the wildlife. That's why you can use them on a site here for your observation work.
Yeah, well, it's two things. Basically, yes, they are getting quieter. They do manufacture the rotor blades to make less noise, and each new drone that comes out is quieter than the one before it. But also the benefit that we have is we can without disturbing animals, we can fly with such a distance from the animals. So we're not getting that close in activity. We're doing everything from a distance. So we're way away from the animals so we don't cause any disturbance.
So 400 feet up, they're not going to know you're there.
Yeah, well, generally it's above most what birds fly. You've got certain sort of larger raptors do fly up there, but because we've got a larger drone, they leave it alone. And generally everything keeps out of its way.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. So large birds of prey might be tempted to go for a small drone.
They very often do go for small drones, but because ours is quite a large drone, we've never had any issues. They keep out of the way.
So talk me through what's going to be happening today then. What sort of work are you doing here today at Crowle?
Yeah, we literally are flying around today doing aerial imagery of the whole site. We're doing this end of Crowle, and then we've got to do right up the other end of Crowle. It is a very large site, so it's going to be launching from a number of locations to get the images that we require.
I hasten to add that's not the drone, it's an aircraft flying over at the moment as well.
Yes, and I have just brought the drone right back down so it's well out of the way.
Excellent, very good. So as an aircraft flies into the distance, the drone comes back down to land on the helipad. And that's just about it for the latest Wilder Lincolnshire podcast from the Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust.